Hello again, and welcome to the world premiere, first ever episode 8 of Gears League, an Xbox podcast. This is Tyler Bello, again your host. This will be, I do believe, at least on YouTube, this will be the first episode I upload with a maybe logo. I'm not sure if it's going to be the logo going forward or not. I'm not even sure if I own the rights technically to the logo. I'm pretty sure I do because I paid for it. But I'll find out, I guess, one way or another. Pretty much, I paid for a logo design, and I got it, but I don't know. I think I have to pick one and have it be finalized, but this is kind of just one of the ones I liked, so whatever. I'll fix it later if I have to. But yeah, it's another solo podcast for me today. Not sure how the future of it's going to go, if it's going to be just me, or if it's going to be, the three of us again, back to, who knows, but for now it's just me again, which, again, I feel like is kind of all right. I mean, I am the one that I feel like is the most passionate about the project. There's no, drama going back, on behind scenes. I just don't know if the co-hosts are interested in continuing, so. But I am the one that's most passionate about it, and I think it kind of does make sense if I'm the one that, if I am the only one, it's fine that I'm okay recording them. I'm going to keep them coming. Today's episode, I think, starting today, I'm going to keep the upload to Wednesdays, sometime Wednesday. I'm not, probably early morning-ish, but as you can tell right now, it's late. But, it'll be going from uploading Tuesday nights to Wednesdays now, so. But this is the first solo episode I'm recording that I'm finally not out of news, so I don't think it'll be nearly as short as my other solo podcasts. So, there's actually a lot of news to get to, but first I'll just let you know what I'm playing. Still playing Pokemon. I think I'm in the last few hours of playing Pokemon too. My Pokedex is actually almost complete, which I'm pretty pumped about. I have yet to decide if I'm going to try to trade with people to finish it, or if I'm going to try to just buy the other game and then just trade with myself. I feel like that's maybe the way to go. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with that. It's becoming a lot of I don't know, because there's a Facebook group I joined to try to get some Pokemon to try to trade, but I don't know. It seems like most of the posts there go ignored and no one pays attention. I don't know. It might just be easier for me to honestly just play Sword myself. So, because right now I'm playing Shield, but anyway, great, fantastic game. So I am loving every bit of it. It is excellent. I do have obviously some complaints about it, and like I said, a separate show called Tyler's Soapbox will probably be coming soon. I think probably as soon as I finalize the logo, I'll do it. I'm not even sure. Probably, I might even do it tomorrow, honestly. I gotta think about that. Where I can kind of just give more in-depth conversation about certain games without detracting from the main episode. So I'm going to call it Gears League Tyler's Soapbox. So it's still going to be a Gears League production. It just won't be Gears League of the Xbox podcast. So, other than that, let's get into the news. But let's see here. So, first article I got is from IGN, and that is by Chris Priestman, and is titled Xbox Scarlett, so the next Xbox, won't focus on VR because, quote-unquote, nobody's asking for it. So, here's the article. So Microsoft says that virtual reality isn't a focus for Xbox Scarlett as there isn't enough demand for it. Vice President of Gaming at Microsoft, Phil Spencer, has said in a new interview with Stivier at XO19 that virtual reality isn't a big part of the next-gen console, Xbox Scarlett. We're responding to what our customers are asking for, and nobody's asking for VR, Spencer said. The vast majority of our customers know if they want a VR experience, there's places to get those. We see the volumes of those on PC and other places. It's not just that Xbox players don't expect to have VR games, though. Spencer said. Microsoft's decision to push VR aside for now is due to the fact that nobody's selling millions and millions of VR units. I think we might get there eventually, Spencer added. But yeah, that's just not our focus right now. This comes days after Valve announced the VR exclusive Half-Life Alyx to much hype, though it's only going to be available on VR headsets that run on PCs. As the Sony stance on VR going into the next gen, there's not much, not important. Anyway, yeah, that is the first piece of news. Not a surprise because Microsoft hasn't really said anything about VR. I know that I was listening to an interview with Phil Spencer on the show Podcast Unlocked. That is the IGN Xbox podcast. He was saying that they were leaving the door open to it, but that they weren't committing to anything, which makes sense. And as far as what I'm seeing for VR from other places, it does seem to kind of at least stabilize. Like, it's not like, I feel like there was a few people that were rabidly excited about it, and then I feel like a lot of that phase is largely gone, which is kind of interesting that we're getting our potentially the biggest VR game of all, Half-Life Alyx, that's coming out. That's a fully fledged AAA experience. I mean, Resident Evil, Resident Evil, the seventh one is probably a fully fledged game, but I think this is a tailored to VR experience, more so than any other VR game we've had before. So yeah, I feel like this is kind of a little different, but I get what he's saying, because as of now, before we've seen what Half-Life Alyx is going to do for sales numbers, the Vive did well from what I've heard, and Oculus does well from what I've heard, but they kind of, like I said, the sales have kind of stabilized. So in PlayStation VR, which is the best-selling unit by far, because it's the most easily accessible unit, the PSVR is stabilized as well. And if this was a big money-making project, I feel like we'd be hearing a lot more from Sony about trying to push more VR games, trying to get more VR games. But we just don't hear that. We don't hear anything like that. We just don't, aside from the Black Friday specials they push, I feel like they pretend that thing doesn't exist. So I'm not entirely sure what the status of that's going to be. But I think that this definitely makes sense that they're not going to focus on it too much or make it a pivotal part, of the experience, because it seems like most people are just fine with playing games traditionally. And from my personal experience with VR, because I actually had a Vive for a long time, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I do more so respect the aspect of just being able to put on the headset and look around than anything. I think that's probably the coolest part. When you're running around and jumping and all that stuff, it is fun for a while. Largely just gets exhausting. Like, I would never want to play an entire full-length campaign like that. I say that, but then again, I don't know. That's me in my living room trying not to hit stuff, playing VR like that. If I had something like a Virtuix Omni, which is the little running pad you can get for yourself, that lets you kind of run around and which looks amazing, maybe that would change my tune. But as of right now, VR is definitely not as accessible, and it's not a lot of fun other than just the visual aspect. So I listened to another podcast who was talking about how Half-Life 1 kind of pushed the envelope with physics, and so did Half-Life 2. And it kind of makes sense that Half-Life Alyx would be the one that's going to push the envelope with VR. So as of right now, I'm not super hyped about it either, and I don't think it's something that the next Xbox necessarily needs, but I mean, maybe Half-Life Alyx will prove me wrong or something, you never know. So the next piece of news, Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC is announced, but with no release date yet. This article is from IGN as well, from Andrew Smith. It says Kingdom Hearts 3 fans have finally got more information on the Remind DLC that is set to release this winter. Unfortunately, there has not been a release date announced yet, but director Tetsuya Nomura recently revealed a little bit about what players can expect from the DLC. First reported by Eurogamer, new details about the Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind DLC were shared with attendees of a Kingdom Hearts 3 orchestra performance in Osaka, Japan this past weekend. Twitter user Melfewis, one of the concert attendees, took to Twitter to publicize all the details that Nomura shared of the performance. So, As of right now, it looks like there's just a few screenshots of it, which look obviously beautiful. Looks awesome. Definitely good news for Kingdom Hearts 3 fans. I would love if this game gets supported for a while. Fun fact, I've never actually played Kingdom Hearts 3. And the reason being is because Kingdom Hearts 3 took so long to come out. I'd played 1, and I'd played Chain of Memories, and I'd played 2, and I'd played those games like over and over again on the PS2. And also on the Game Boy Advance for Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. But it took so long for that game to come out that like I hadn't played them in so long. So what I did was I bought the collection on PS4. And I kind of made it to myself like, all right, I'll only play Kingdom Hearts 3 when I have the platinum in all the games. And then I got my PC and completely lost interest in playing my PlayStation. I don't know. They're coming to those Kingdom Hearts games are coming to Game Pass for Xbox, but no word on the PC version of that yet. Which, if they come to PC, I feel like that'd be amazing. I would love to play the games on PC there through the Xbox Game Pass. So, but them coming to Xbox themselves too is also something that gets me pretty excited for. That's just more people, that can play those games, and so I feel like that. Obviously, I feel like Kingdom Hearts is relevant in pretty much all major gaming circles, and I feel like a lot of the people who are listening to the show and play Xbox regularly know what Kingdom Hearts is. So it's only good news that Kingdom Hearts 3 is being supported more. Kingdom Hearts 3 is on Xbox, obviously, but it's nice we're going to have the rest of the games on there too. So, but yeah. Next up is Destiny 2 next season is all about Osiris and time. And this article is from Kotaku by Stefan Totolo. I don't know. Says, rough time for our biggest Destiny 2 expert to be on jury duty, folks, but here we are with that's more Kotaku buzz. I feel like I should read some of these articles ahead of time. It says that, with the new expansion, which is launching on December 10th through March 9th, it is all about Osiris, and the setup here, it's continuing the Shadowkeep expansion. And it sounds like Osiris will be the legendary warlock who Destiny's 2 players last encountered in Destiny 2's underwhelming first expansion, Curse of Osiris. He's back. He's the narrator. Oh shit, that's interesting. And then yada. So basically, long story short with this article, is more so on that, the next season starting, which is funny enough, kind of the reasons I actually quit Destiny 2. I'm, obviously, as you know, I was playing Destiny 2 for the longest time when the show was starting, but I fell off of it because of this very reason. They broke it up into season passes now, which is great for trying to get people to, play your game more, but at the same time, it makes it impossible to play other games as well, which is kind of why I think I'm going to go back to World of Warcraft as games as a service, as opposed to Destiny 2, because the only reason I went to Destiny 2 was to try to feel like I could play other games while also maintaining a game as a service as well. But, I don't know. Good news for Destiny 2 players. It looks like they are bringing back Trials of Osiris too. That's a much requested feature for Destiny 2 players, so that's actually excellent. So, yeah. Next story is from Kotaku. It is by Luke Plunkett. It's about a streamer sets world record by playing games for 572 hours. The article says last month, let's see here. Last month, Cecilia ran a great feature on Andrew Giant Waffle Bondine, who was in the middle of an attempt to set a world record by streaming himself playing video games for 570 hours. Yesterday, he reached the finish line. Obviously, like any world record attempt these days, in pretty much any field, participants are allowed a certain period of rest so as to not physically endanger themselves. Over 30 days, Bodine completed a 19-hour stream every single day, resulting in a total of 572 hours broadcast. Holy cow. I am definitely a streamer myself. I haven't been streaming recently because my gaming PC, when I broke down and the games I was playing, it's not a really good way to build your brand. So I was, not getting a ton of viewers. I have a couple reoccurring viewers that I'm very proud of. But I wasn't really breaking any records or anything, but that is a lot of stream time. I kind of would be interested to kind of see some of those streams towards the end of the month. Was he just basically like just gurgling as he spoke? That's a lot to stream. So, I mean, good for him. It seemed interesting. He apparently prepared for it, so I mean that's awesome, right? But that was I thought it was kind of an interesting tidbit. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, good for him. Oh. All right, and then this next one here is I got a funny headline. So it's from GameSpot, and the head. Ooh, snap. Yeah, sorry. The headline reads: United States Congressman Duncan Hunter, a Republican representative from California known for vaping on the job, has pleaded guilty to charges of using campaign funds to pay for things like video games. Plane tickets for his pet rabbits. The attorney's office for the Southern District of California announced that Hunter admitted to the fact that he knowingly and willfully stole hundreds of thousands of dollars in campaign funds that he and his wife used to maintain their lifestyle. The name of this article is called "Vaping Politician Pleads Guilty to Stealing Campaign Funds for Video Games, Plane Tickets for Rabbits," which is a funny headline. I figured I should read that first part to you because I have no idea what the vaping has anything to do with it, but I mean, at least you know he's a vaping politician, I suppose, right? Very important. It said apparently they stole more than $150,000 campaign funds between 2010 and 2016 on things that benefited his family's personal use and enjoyment. Hunter is said to have partaken in 30 or more illegal transactions related to this money. All I can say is if you're buying video games with taxpayer dollars, well, at least the taxpayer dollars are going to a good cause, right? That's pretty much it for that story. But seemed interesting. This time also too, as you can tell, I tried grabbing a few more sources than I normally do for my news stories. And I also tried to kind of expanding my horizons because a lot of the times for news, I'll only pick a certain amount of articles. I figured it'd be I figured I should try to extend my reach a little bit. I don't know if more news is good news because I feel like there's only so much I care about, and obviously there's only so much I can really talk about in length. But I don't know. Is more news good news, or is less news but more news I can break down better? I'm not really sure which one's the way to go. So, in other news, Halo Reach launches on these ads are annoying as fuck. I'm not gonna lie. In other news, Halo Reach launched on Game Pass on Master Chief Collection, and also Halo Reach is on Steam now as well. That is excellent. Apparently it is one of the highest played games on Steam. This is actually excellent because I loved Halo Reach. I thought it was a fantastic game, and I think it's for a while it was at least probably the most fun I had playing multiplayer in a long time. I still think it's one of the better multiplayers of that. I don't know why some people give it such a hard time, but I thought Halo Reach was phenomenal. I think it's awesome. This is the game that PC players are getting first too. So, as far as it on Xbox Game Pass on PC, pretty much Halo on PC. I'm pretty sure it's the only one on Game Pass on PC for right now. Yes it is. And the other ones are going to be coming later. So that is awesome for pretty much everyone. That's an excellent game. If you've got Game Pass in any form, that's I still think it's one of the better campaigns too. One of the things I have complaints about for Halo is that like a lot of the times it seems like all Master Chief does is like he doesn't say anything. Like at least for Halo 1, 2, and 3, I didn't even finish 4, but I mean one day I might get to it. Who knows? But he doesn't say anything, and then he just like says some one-liner or something. I just didn't find him very interesting, so I just never really cared what he had to say that much. But I don't know. I think Halo Reach is an excellent campaign because it's not just one person. It's not one guy trying to be silent and badass. It's a collection of people, and I thought it was excellent. And it does kind of retcon the book Fall of Reach. I know that's why a lot of people had problems with it. But I feel like there's still a lot to enjoy from the book Fall of Reach. But yeah, no, that's why I know a lot of people had a problem with that. So let's see. Yes, and not really a relevant story. The Steam controller is out of stock now, finally, never coming back. Not really relevant, I think, to this podcast. I just saw that and I kind of wanted to include that because it was one of the controllers I tried to try to run my PC from my living room, and then eventually ended up settling on the idea of just buying a crap ton of extension cords for everything, which is still the way I use it now. So this last one here is actually kind of an article I maybe wanted to spend some time on. It's kind of interesting. It is Riot Games pays out over $10 million to settle a gender discrimination lawsuit. This article is from Eddie Makuch at GameSpot. And if you guys weren't aware, this happened back in 2014. There was apparently a very bro nature, I guess what's the right term for it? Bro culture is what they were calling it at Riot Games, the people who make League of Legends. And apparently it was such a toxic work environment that, obviously they're settling in a $10 million lawsuit. This is, I guess, this is kind of a story I wanted to include that I kind of want to talk to you. Obviously, I'm not going to get very political on this show because it's a very gaming-centric podcast. So I'm not going to talk about politics, and I'm not going to really tell you what side of politics I'm on. But I will say that from the article, it seems like it's pretty justified if it was this toxic of a work environment. Apparently, there were people who, some of the staffers who would have lists, like top 10 lists of the workers there, of who was hot or not, which is seriously some Michael Scott thing to do. I don't know. It's pretty, it sounds like a pretty toxic environment. The problem is it's so hard to tell with these things because the media in every single, even in gaming media too, they have such an axe to grind about everything that, it seems like a couple of different sources have verified the same details. So I'm going to probably believe it. It's just when it comes to sensitive matters like this, discrimination against women and things like that, it just seems like the media is the first ones convinced that there's fire, even if they don't even see smoke yet, So it's just hard to trust, but otherwise, it does seem like it's a pretty serious deal. And so, I don't know if they, the article even says that they removed some of those people or not, but that's crazy, especially, if you're forced to go to work and be subjugated to that. So definitely have some sympathy for that, for sure. But, anyway, next up here. All right, and then the topic I want to talk to you about is, sorry, there's an awkward cut there. I had to pause recording real quick. My girlfriend was at the door, but the topic I want to talk to you about, it might be a shorter topic, but it is something that actually ties into our last story, and it's just games media bias, and pretty much, this obviously extends to larger media bias, but at the same time, I probably just want to focus on games media. And I'm actually not even going to just talk about their overt political messaging, which I feel like is a common thing. Actually, I do want to talk a little bit about that. I guess I just lied, but people like Jason Schreier, who used to be a real journalist, just seem to have an axe to grind all day, every day about unionization in games, and that's all he seems to care about and talk about is pretty much every story ends with basically game unionization. It pretty much seems to be the common thread every time. So, but more, I mainly want to talk about how it seems like, it's been said before, I'm not the first one to say that, but there is such a large echo chamber with games. And I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about this because of it's kind of Death Stranding, just with the controversy before it came out, and then now that it's out, it seems to be kind of doing okay, pretty well, critically. But one thing I've noticed, and it's kind of sad, it's just every review is the same, So it's all these people have the same mindset, and if one person likes the game, they all like the game, and it seems like, I don't know. First, I can't imagine all these people playing the game, just because for you to all have the same thoughts and they all seem to be within the first hour or two of the game seems incredible. I mean, there was that guy, I can't even remember his name, not too long ago, but he actually got fired in the was it from IGN? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was from IGN for plagiarism of a review, which I feel like it goes on a lot, but at the same time, let's just think about this for a second here. Plagiarism of a game review. That you're gonna plagiarize an opinion. I don't know. I can't imagine. First off, since so many people seem to do it, how could you let yourself get caught doing it? Just literally just change the words around. But no, he literally got caught because he was an actual blatant, probably just rip off of a different review. And the funny thing is, he went to Twitter and say, "All right, well, I dare Jason Schreier to find any other instance of me doing plagiarism." Apparently, I found 5 more of him just blatantly ripping off other people, which was kind of funny. But yeah, mainly I just want to talk about how it's so sad that some games seem to get short shrift because of that. One thing that I noticed is when Watch Dogs, the first one, came out. I actually thought it was a phenomenal game. I had a terrific time with it. But as the one review came out, gave it a 6. All of them followed suit. And I feel like the only differentiating things between all these reviews is that is basically it would be someone would go way hard at it. I feel just for clickbait, just to try to get some clicks of why they think it's a terrible game, and you see a couple websites do that, but largely, yeah, they're all the same, and it seems I don't know. At this point, some of these game reviewers, I mean, I know it's not all of them, because obviously there's some people you can really trust, but some of these game reviewers, it's they're almost the enemy of the consumer, because I feel they all just, I don't know, it makes sense from a journalistic standpoint that you want to make a clickbaity title, and if a big game's going to come out, you're probably going to get more clicks if you shit on the game rather than praise it. It just, I don't know. Reason why I mainly want to focus on this title is this topic is because it seems media bias is everywhere, and it even extends. It's just so crazy to me that it extends to our industry, the gaming industry. When you think about what games are a recreational hobby, how can you justify like I said, it's just, I don't know, it's so hard to say, because these people who are reviewing these games aren't your average gamer, and some people call the media the enemy of the people. I mean, obviously we all know who I'm talking about with that, but at the same time, it's it almost seems like the games media is the enemy of the gamer, right? Because they're not talking to us, right? They're talking to each other, right? They only seem to have the same opinions. I don't know. It's just the more I call it games journalism, the more it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, first off, let's face it, if you're doing games journalism, you're mainly doing games journalism. I did some games journalism, a couple of years back. I mean, just for a small independent site. I mean, the site doesn't even exist anymore. But yeah, all you would do is just you look for news stories, and then you just return the same crap that everyone else is churning. It's not. It makes sense why who the only people who are going to be in there are going to be crap, not real journalists, because it's not really journalism, and it kind of makes sense that real journalism would be a rarity. But at the same time, if you're blessed with the ability to talk about games for a living, like these people are, you'd think you'd have the half a give a shit to actually play the games you're told to play and review them properly. I don't know. It's something that's been bugging me for a while, and you're probably wondering what site I'm talking about. Am I talking about IGN or Kotaku or GameSpot? I'm kind of just talking about most of them most of the time, and it just, I don't know. I'm kind of exhausted of it. And I know there's tons of games that are great games that just seems like the journalists have more of an interest in shitting on them, and that had no reason to be shitting. I get that Destiny 1 had some problems, but that game launched with 6s and 5s and 4s. Destiny 1, I mean, I don't know. I know I'm kind of going back here, but at the same time, it's like, that was kind of a perfect example. It's like, well, if you had spent the time to just play the game and know what it actually was, don't think you would have given it a 6. You could have actually given the consumer an informed purchasing decision. Like Watch Dogs is another example. Like I mentioned earlier, just, I don't know. It just, it seems like they have an axe to grind about everything all the time, always. And it's just pretty sickening, honestly. So, but that's pretty much all I have for episode 8, Gears League and Xbox podcast. I might see how I do the format next time. I don't know if I'm going to do the more news scattershot approach. I don't know. I kind of want to be a little bit more critical of some of my news stories, but at the same time, I just don't want to pass up something that might interest you guys, So, I don't know, so we'll see what happens next time. Again, to email the show, gearsleaguepodcast@gmail.com. That is gearsleaguepodcast@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/TOPOLEADK. That's twitch.tv/TOPOLEADK. Otherwise, yeah, until next week.